down payment's key. When the credit's below 600, it's just a different set of banks that'll compete, and they want a position on the loan that's strong, so they kind of under advance. In other words, the value of the vehicle has to match what they're financing. Like, so, $1,500 is usually a good down payment to be able to get a little more options. Sometimes if you have less than that, you're going to end up not having as many options. Well, because there's only one bank that'll do $1,000 down. So a lot of the attributes that they're considering are self-employed, ungarnishable income. So that makes the risk on a higher side as well. And that's what forces the money down. Now, if this is on cars, like if you had $1,500 down, then we'd be talking like a $10,000 car. And if you're looking at cars or hoping to get into a car that's more expensive, they'll probably need more money down. So maybe $2,000, $2,500 if you're starting to, creep over. But we don't want to go too high anyways, because, if your income is roughly $2,000, I mean, it says here you have, is that your spouse, is Ariana your spouse? Let me see, 1998, 1994. That would be your spouse, Ariana? Your sister? You guys have the same address. Okay. So she, but I'm not sure if she has credit or not as far as established with a car loan for a couple years, or I'm not sure if she has a thin file as well, because I think that's probably what's going on here, right? Have you had car credit before? Did it go repo, or was it with like a buy here, pay here lot? You paid it off perfect? That's good. Do you have a credit union by chance? Because credit unions usually will tend to go with that. We'll go with it, with self-employed. So that's some of the attributes that are forcing the down payment. Like, I can get away with lower down payments, with certain banks like a credit union. So a lot of times if they combine they may just set it up where, because she's not a spouse, this is your sister, where each of you have to qualify individually, so to speak. Like, I can't combine the income to $4,200 and then give you a payment of, a $500 vehicle. They're still going to want me, because you're not a spouse and I can't combine the income, for us to keep your payment under $300. That's the max payment. So that might get us a 4-door sedan, maybe a Chevy Cruze. We might be able to get, there are some smaller SUVs possibly. Oh, why? What is he trying to get? Oh, Tahoe? Hi there. What's your name? Hello, good morning. What's your name? Hi, Maurice. How are you? Oh, good, thanks. I was just going through the whole program with her. So I'm not sure that I can combine the income for Ariana and Shelby and use it for a higher payment, for like a higher payment vehicle. I think because they're not a spousal situation, they're siblings, they won't allow me to combine the income, but it's going to be more like I have to use $2,000 and the other one has $2,200 a month, right? So like but they have to each qualify individually. So they're not going to probably let her payment go over $300 a month on a vehicle. So they are a spouse then, right? She just want to say that. So they do combine the income. They'll allow it then. They'll maybe allow. But why did she say, let me have you talk to my boyfriend? Are you guys all like, okay, got it. All right. So I'm trying to see, and because we all live together. She has proof of address at that place there as well. Like, does she have a utility bill, phone bill, electric bill, water bill, bank statement? Her name. Each of them have to have it in their name at that address. Well, it can't be junk mail. It can't be junk mail. It's got to be a utility bill or a bank statement. Yeah, so like they're going to probably stick for that, but I can try to get away with it. Listen, the way to get around all these hard stipulations from the banks is money down. And I know she was trying to inquire what the least amount is we can get away with. And And then the proof of income for her, because hers, hairstylist, kitchen beautician, cash income, right? I understand that. But typically they'll want bank statements, or I won't even be able to counter income. So the bank statements have to be like 90 days. I have to get the total. So if it ends up being, oh, she deposited $6,000 in cash in 90 days, I can only use the 2,000. But if she only deposited 3,000, I can only use 1,000, right? I can spread that out over, I got to divide it by 3. So whatever the total deposits of cash for 90 days, or however the income is coming into her bank account. Otherwise, we're going to end up zeroing out the income. So she does need the proof of income for self-employed hairstyle. No, I mean, the paycheck stubs, I'll have to reword the whole damn thing. They want landlines for verification of employment for VOE. There's all kinds of sign-offs that are needed when the customer is presenting a pay stub that is generated by QuickBooks and things like that. Like, and if you don't have a hard.com, like if she doesn't have a floggerhairstyle.com and an email address, because that is an investment into a business, it'll flag, like if it's a Gmail, if they're trying to do a verification of employment over an email, they usually are not going to allow a Gmail account or Yahoo for a verification of email of employment. So see, I learned finance in the city. My job is to make sure the dealer gets paid. I learned how to get from A to B for you at a place on Cicero Avenue. What I'm trying to tell you is I'm their best person to talk to about every which way to figure out how to get this job done, right? Because I'm going to be I am the person that helped create the regulations that we are now living with today, because I've been doing this since the 1990s. And I understand that I'm here to help you find that car on the deal. That's what I'm here to marry that deal. So I'm going to make sure this is smooth and easy for you. But we got to make sure that what you're bringing to the table, because then I may have to go down this road or that road. But starting with down payment really is where it starts, because I have to work off of real-time inventory. So when I say have $1,500 together, call me and send me 3 stock numbers of vehicles that you consider that are $10,000, I could probably move forward on something like that with using Ariana's pay stub and Shelby's couple months bank statements or whatever she can scrape together. I want bank statements though. I have to have something, yeah. Otherwise we have to zero out her income because she's self-employed. I know how that, when you're self-employed, I have housekeepers, I have strippers that are clients, I have all kinds of clients. No, everything you send to me only, just me. When you go to the location, the salesman's going to stand 6 feet away from you and toss you the keys of the car if he doesn't have it warmed up with the keys in the cup holder, And like, if you like it, listen, you're in and out in 15 minutes. It's record-breaking time. There's nothing left to do, but I got to clear everything up front. You can't come in. I don't even let test drives take place unless the deal's married. And what I mean by that is you, the bank, and the dealer, all 3 of you are on board. Because if you're not, there's no deal. Like, so as an example, I'll tell you why I ask for 2 or 3 vehicles when you are ready with the money down, for me to look at and examine to see which one I can produce based off what you're bringing to the table. I ask for options from you and a few choices and have some degree of flexibility, because in every dealerships, across America, there's a certain percentage of inventory that's just not going to work because it doesn't make sense mathematically. Like the value 7,000 and the dealer's asking 10, something like that is not going to work with what we're doing. And so we don't even want to look at those cars or even start dreaming about them or thinking about them. I don't take screenshots. Well, you got to have PDF. Do the forensic scientist work, okay? I need you to find out what your total deposits are for 90 days, and then it's so easy to forward a PDF copy if needed. So one way to get around all this BS, right, is to do a down payment that's greater than a certain amount of the vehicle. Like, we can get away with not having to prove income if she puts 20% down or something. But the problem is, on that particular category, at the $10,000 price point, they're higher mileage vehicles. And for me to shift to get a bank to waive a no hassle loan is 10 grand or less, they're going to want, no matter what, a proof of income. I need to get out of that little area, that arena, right? Now I got to move into this different, I got to go to a different area, right? And say, okay, now I'm going to use this guy instead, and I'm going to use his option of the 20% down. There's a couple banks that'll do that. they're not in the no hassle lane. They're in their own lane. So we just got to shift lanes, and go to that lane. Correct. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Now we're talking. Now on that vehicle with her income, it's going to have to be a lower mileage vehicle. It can't be too high. It can't go too crazy. So if you're trying to pull out of this deal a Tahoe or a truck or something crazy like that's expensive, like saying new, I'm saying a used Tahoe or use something that's a little higher money vehicle, you're going to need to go back probably to your no hassles the fastest for A to B on this deal, because they're not going to. The proof of income on, if she has 2,000, I'll have to manipulate a little bit and see what I can get away with, but and I'll be happy to do that, but we're going to set it up right. We're not going to go to them trying to get a $15,000 vehicle with $1,000. It's not going to happen. So we're going to need more than that. So, and that $15,000 Tahoe is going to have, 150,000 miles on it. So that's going to cut our term down. So the payment just goes real high. So I'll have to do a little bit of, playing around with the numbers to see if we can make it, there's a sweet spot for it to go through. So at 15,000, yeah, because it's tax title license, you're going to talking, $3,000 down, 3,500 if you're looking at that price point to get away and around all that proof of income stuff to make it easier. But that's on something a little lower miles. See, what happens is if the miles go over like 130, 140 at that price point, it starts to get crazy. Because the banks cut that term down. So I hope I'm helping, But I want you to know that down payment's key. That's important. I can do a no-hassle loan. We could start with a $1,500 no-hassle loan, small balance. I can keep them both together on the application. She has a pay stub at okay, but we'll probably have to keep the payment in line depending on what the bank statements prove, or if we're zeroing it out, we're back down to the, the $350 car a month number to start off with. They don't care about how you spend the money or where it goes. They don't give it any, they just want to see it coming in. They want to know it's coming in and an average, yeah. Okay, that money together. If you got your eye on a $15,000 car and you need 2 weeks to get your money together, I am telling you just to call me back or online, fine. But there's no point in me beating up the dealer and the bank and getting everybody on board and doing the royal smackdown, so to say, right? Unless we're ready to get in the ring, So just make sure you're 100% ready. You can send me all the stuff, like you said, because there's a little bit of work and tasks involved in that.